Ladies and gentlemen, my computer is repaired and we are finally back for the UFC predictions and breakdowns for UFC Fight Night. Sean Strickland versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, which is taking place this Saturday, February the 21st of 2026, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are finally back after a week of no UFC, and we are back with an absolute stacked card. We have some amazing talent, we have some amazing finishers, and I'm looking at some nasty underdogs that are going to get it done. Let's get right into it. Really nice and easy here with the first prelim opener, that is Carly Judice versus Juliana Miller. Now, I do not mind Juliana Miller whatsoever, but Carly Judice is just a little bit better with terms of skill. She puts the pressure on consistently. Juliana Miller does a bit of the same, but she does have a bit of a problem when it comes to girls who throw back just as heavy, and Carly Judice is a girl who actually tries to take girls out hard, and she has a really good knockout percentage. I'm looking at Carly Judice to probably put it on Juliana Miller, maybe make Miller melt against the cage and probably put her out. I think Juliana Miller is really solid at flyweight, but she just doesn't have the level of talent in her win column to make me feel like she's going to do really anything against Carly Judice. Gabriela Fernandez was able to be a bit of a dog against Carly Judice and just kind of force her back. Juliana Miller, I think, can do that for about a round. If we go any further than a round, I think we're looking at a bit of a problem for Juliana Miller. I'm going to go with Carly Judice to get it done with knockout or decision, probably coming a late TKO in a late round 2 or 3 finish. Judice is good. She really puts the pressure on girls, and I think Juliana Miller is just going to wilt under that pressure. Next on the prelims, Yair Delvalle versus Jordan Levitt. The Monkey King is not getting the easiest of a run in the UFC. I'm going to go with Yair Delvalle to win by submission. I think the rear naked choke is in. I think Jordan Levitt showed his true colors against Paddy Pimblett. I do like Jordan a lot, but getting choked out by Paddy Pimblett that quickly too, not really being able to stay on the feet was a bit of a problem. Chase Hooper also got him down really quickly, was able to play with him on the ground. I think Yair Delvalle is just a little too large. He is quite big, and Jordan is dropping to featherweight. He's going to pack a bit more of a punch, but I think Yair Delvalle here is just going to be able to be a little bit more advantageous on the ground. I think when it mixes up on the stand-up, Jordan just kind of lets himself get taken down a little bit too often, and Delvalle is going to end up with the submission victory. I like Jordan Levitt a lot, but he just hasn't improved enough, especially after the fight with Kurt Holloway. An anaconda choke over Kurt Holloway, by the way, is some of the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. I really did think Kurt was going to be able to come through on that fight, but unfortunately getting choked out cold is not the way to go. Next on the prelims, John Paul Lebenziani, who just got through in the Contender Series against Phil Rowe, who just lost against Seok Young Ko and looked absolutely pitiful doing it. He did beat Ange Losa recently in the third round, a late round TKO after losing the first two. Jean-Paul Lebanyaski, I don't really know a whole lot about this kid. He has gotten stopped a couple times before. Jack Cogden did get his ass whooped by that boy. It looked like Jack did not belong in that octagon whatsoever. He was 6'2". He did have the reach advantage, and yet it looked like he was in there with a fucking world beater compared to what he was. Phil Rowe, I don't know, man. Phil Rowe's got 8 inches of reach. He might be a really good underdog pick for this fight. He might be really good value here, but Jean-Paul Lebenziani, I feel like he just got the ability to stay with Phil on the feet. Is he really going to gas out late in the round? Probably not. He's been working for this for the last 2 years of his life, running through the LFA, getting to the Contender Series, getting that knockout victory very quickly, and now he gets thrown into the UFC against one of the most devastating fucking punchers that, if he can land it, ever. He kind of takes too long. He doesn't really put it on till later, and even if he does end up knocking down Jean Paul and almost putting him out in the third round, if he doesn't put him out and loses the first two, you get a draw anyway. I'm just going to go with the fact that Phil Rowe doesn't really feel like he wants to be in the career that he's in. He kind of feels like he doesn't really give a fuck about where he is. He kind of feels like a Kevin Holland that hasn't proven himself whatsoever, and that bothers me. It's a massive bother because I don't understand how you think you can just run through, be shit at grappling, be shit at fighting, and you're gonna go, yeah, this is it. This is where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna go with John Paul. I would stay away from this fight if it was me. I don't think Phil Rowe is getting finished, but if he was gonna get finished, I would not be surprised if it's a young kid like this that just decides to run at him and fucking beat the shit out of him. Give me Jean-Paul Lebenziani by knockout or decision. Does he choke out a Phil Rowe? Probably not. Does a lot of wrestling, but I'm going to say probably gets close. Next on the prelims, Ramiz Brahima versus Punahele Soriano. And now, speaking of a submission artist, you have Ramiz, who's back again against Punahele Soriano, who just knocked out knocked out Uros Medic, and then fought Nikolay Veretennikov and have an absolute fucking pitiful performance. And I had to almost sleep through that fight. I'm going to go with Ramiz Brahima to get Brahima, whatever you want to fucking pronounce it. I'm going to go with him to get a submission victory. I think Punahele Soriano's a bit in too deep in the UFC at this point. Number 25, he's fighting up rankings now, and he's fighting Ramiz Brahima, who is below ranking, but dude, he's on a bit of a tear. He does look fucking terrible when it comes to decent fucking level people, but Punahele Soriano getting submitted by Dustin Stoltzfus, getting beat up by Nick Maximov. These are things that I fucking worry for in my life. And these are things that really keep me up at night when I really think about it. Beating Miguel Beza and not getting a knockout is something that I'm questioning every single day of my life. And if he doesn't get a knockout in the first round, Ramiz is probably just going to torch his ass. I would probably stay away from this fight. Usually, this Ramiz is a guy who can really burst through a fight and not really deal or get dealt too much damage to himself. He does take a punch quite well. He will keep moving forward. And he is known to be one of those guys who kind of just keeps moving forward, trying to get the submission no matter what. If he gets into a third round, he's lost the first two. He's still going for it. In the first round, he's going to go for it anyway. And he's just going to keep moving no matter what. Now, Punahele, strong hands. Is he going to throw back? Yeah, if we get into the second round, Ramiz is going to just be a little bit more in with the gas tank, and I think Punahele Soriano is going to be in some deep shit. I think Ramiz is just a little bit too much better in the cardio and too much better with the hands when it comes later. I'm just going to say Ramiz Brahima starts to patter him up into the second and third round and eventually get a guillotine choke after Punahele shoots in on a shit shot after trying to get some stoppage in time to breathe. Ramiz is good. He's been improving rapidly. He's had the UFC for many years. A lot of people don't like him after that Mickey Gall fight. Listen, it is what it is. Mickey Gall took the fight. He's shit. You still let him fight him. It is what it is. It's not his fault that he fought a shit fighter. It's just a free one on his record. Now, next on the prelims, you have Nora Cornell versus Jocelyn Edwards. We're going with Jocelyn Edwards to get it done via knockout or decision. I think Nora Cornell's getting tagged way too often in her fights. She eats a jab way too often, and she does not have her hands up. She kind of leaves her hands a little low. You can even see it in the picture there. She literally is ripe for a picking for a fucking jab right on her forehead. She eats those like candy to a baby, and it's a problem. She gets tagged a lot. Jocelyn Edwards just knocked out a lady in Priscilla Cachoeira, who's been knocked out before, but these are really, really strong shots, and Edwards is getting so much better. The Panamanian is just absolutely on a domination tear, and she's been coming back with a bit of a fury since losing 2 in a row. Or was it 3 in a row? No, it was 2 in a row, and one was to Nora Cornell. I just don't think, at this point in her career for Nora Cornell, that she's going to be able to beat Jocelyn Edwards. I think Edwards has just improved so much more rapidly than anything Nora Cornell has done in her life. And Edwards has the gas tank to actually outlast her this time, and she's going to beat the shit out of her. Give me Jocelyn Edwards to continue at the bantamweight tear and move to number 7 after a win over Nora Cornell and getting that W back against her after a loss. Now, this is an interesting fight. These next 3 fights are fucking highlights of the evening, I'll tell you what. These are probably going to be the craziest fights of the evening. Alden Correa. Oh my God, Alden Correa. Is it really Korea? Korea? I'm just gonna go with Alden. I'm just gonna say Alden because I really don't know how the last name's said, and I don't want to fuck it up. I'm gonna go with Alden to beat Louis Garul in a long and tested battle. I think Alden is really going to knock him out realistically in the second round. He just turned it on against Alessandro Costa and just beat the fuck out of the kid. I know Costa had a bit of a leg injury going into that third round, but still, he knocked him out with an uppercut and some couple shots against the cage and just put him out. Louis, whatever. Garul is going to get tagged up. He is really short for the weight class. He does get tagged up quite often, and he's outreached on this part. He doesn't have the weight advantage. He's fighting a guy who, has fought some guys that... listen, Garul has beaten guys that Korea has lost to. Okay, Alden has lost to guys that Gurul has just manhandled. That doesn't really... I mean, this is MMA math. If you really want to think about it, you could pick Gurul on that portion. I'm going to say Alden is just on such a tear. The kid looks so good. He was an underdog in his last fight. He didn't have UFC jitters. He walked into the UFC with absolute fucking nothing. No worry whatsoever. And now he gets Louis Gurul. I'm going to say that he tags him up and beats the fuck out of him. I think Alden's just on a too bit of a hot streak to deal with anything that Gurul has to offer. Let's just keep fucking rolling with it. I think Alden's just going to maul through him and just keep walking forward. Next on the prelims, Ode Osborne versus Alibi. Jesus fucking Christ. These names are starting to kill me, man. These are 3 highlights of the evening and 3 fucking terrible names for me to pronounce. Ode Osborne versus Alibi Idris. Now, I'm going with Ode Osborne probably. Idris looked like shit against Joseph Morales. Morales choked him out on his second stint inside the UFC. Nazia Fighting Championship is just a bum organization with a bunch of fucking nobodies fighting each other. I'm going to say Ode Osborne probably pieces him up. I think Ode Osborne's got the reach advantage. He's going to piece him up. He beat Steve Urzeg in the first round. He looked really good after that Louis Gurul knockout. And now he's getting another chance at a guy who's just a little bit too... too wild. Like, Ode Osborne's really calculated. He's not going to just get tagged in wild exchanges for no reason. And I think Alibi is just going to get fucking ripped into in the first round. I think he's going to throw a little bit too heavy and just get tagged with an Ode Osborne overhand right. He's going to get sat down, and Ode is probably going to just jump on top of him, trying to finish it really quickly, seeing as Ode had a bit of a problem with Steve Urzeg the last time and couldn't exactly get it done. Now, Idris is good. He's got a lot of really powerful fucking shots in his arsenal. He's got a lot of highlights on tape, but Ode Osborne's dealt with it his whole career. He will be dealing with it again, and I think he'll get it done. I think Ode Osborne's going to get done via knockout. I think I can see Idris hitting the floor quite hard. I'm going to just go with the fact that Kazakhstanian hasn't really proven anything to anyone, and the people he's fought aren't really that good. Once you fight someone decent, i.e. Ode Osborne, maybe we can make some more judgments afterwards. Highlighted prelim of the evening. Again, I will say this again. I will say it every time that I do a video. The prelim before the main card and the first fight on the main card, they always look for finishes. They are trying to drag you into the fight card. They want you to see what is going on. They want you to pay for it. They want you to see a highlight so that you go, wow, I'm buying this right now. I'm going to tell you what. You probably ain't going to like this highlight. But it's happening. Chidi Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. I'm going with Carlos Leal on the highlight prelim of the evening to get it done via knockout. I think he's going to get Chidi in the second round. I think Chidi gasses out really frequently. I think he's a guy that has a bit of a problem when it comes to late round fights. I think he just doesn't deal well with guys who are able to keep up with him. And Carlos Leal is a guy who seems like he's on steroids. I'm not going to lie. He had a really good career in the UAE Warriors. He was in the PFL, he was in the LFA, and he just kind of rolled through a lot of the decent guys. He lost to Sadibou Sai, which is a bit of a problem for me, the Swedish guy who's just fucking giant as shit. I think he just couldn't really deal with the height, and he just got outpicked. But Chidi Njokuani here, might be a similar fight, but I think Carlos Leal is going to have to force the pressure and force himself on the inside. There's not really a whole lot of positions where Chidi Njokuani is going to be able to deal anything on the ground. I think if Carlos Leal can get on the inside and maybe deal some trips and just land some ground and pound and maybe get him back up and have him a little bit more tired, he won't have to deal with the nasty Muay Thai that Chidi Njokuani has. But Njokuani not really having the best of years recently. He did beat Jared Gooden. He did beat Elizeu Zaleski with a knockout, but getting knocked out by Ola Jacek, getting choked out by Jake Matthews early. Duraev split decision. Gregory Robocop Rodriguez knocked him the fuck out in the second round. I mean, these are bad losses. These are knockouts that are fucking ruining your life forever. And I think Carlos Leal is going to add to that. I think he's going to get a highlight reel knockout. I think the short jab and the overhand right of Carlos Leal is going to rock him, and I think he's just going to walk up and hit him with some combinations against the cage and eventually drop Chidi Njokuani or have Chidi Njokuani throwing wild and just get chinned on the ground. Leal's good, man. He did get chinned against Muslim Salikov. He got just popped with a jab and got put out. Just got hit with the perfect shot, was walking in a little bit too aggressively, and now he's in a position where he's going to take his time. Probably feel a little bit of caution towards himself because of that knockout, but he will be able to work up towards a more decent victory. I mean, he's only got the one loss realistically. Rinat Fakhretdinov, we all know that was a robbery. He's been on a bit of a hot streak. had the one loss. I think he's going to bounce back against Chidi Njokuani, who's just not as good as people think he is, and he's getting a little bit old, 37 years of age. Not that old for a Thai fighter, but Chidi's taking some damage, man. He's taking some big damage. Zachary Reese versus Michel Pereira next on the main card. I'm going with Michel Pereira, or excuse me, to start off the main card. I'm going to go with Michel Pereira to get it done via knockout. Zachary Reese has proven he's very chinny. He does not take shots very well. He got knocked out against Bakoyev. He got knocked out by a slam against Cody Brundage. And he had a no contest with Strickland Dumas, which is going fucking any which way you really want to say. He got kicked in the dick. Nothing really happened, but Dumas being able to survive even a minute with Zachary Reese gives me some fucking questions, because Dumas fucking sucks. And Jackson McVeigh was able to survive into the second round. Now, these are red flags. I'm going to say right now, these are red flags. Michel Pereira has been in the UFC for a very long time. He has fought some of the very, very best in the division. He has fought some of the very best in the regional scene. He even fought Carlston Harris back in 2015 when he wasn't even in the fucking UFC. These are fucking guys. He has ripped through Anthony Fluffy. He fought Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who was just on a fucking roll. Abus Magomedov, who's a nasty striker who can last now. Kyle Dawkins, who he got clipped against, and dude, he's beat Olajaychuk, he beat Petrovsky, he's got Ponzinibbio as a win, Fiallo. These are decent. I don't like Fiallo that much, but these are more decent wins than what Zachary Reese has, and I think Michel Pereira needs to just go out there and starch him. I think this is one of those fights where Michel Pereira needs to use all this explosiveness and run out there and just run at him. This is a very, very good fight for Pereira to just kind of show his true colors, and for Zachary Reese to be proven why he's a fucking can and why he shouldn't be inside the UFC. This kid really, like, what even was it? He did what? He fought like Julian Marquez and got a knockout? Like, fuck off. Eat shit. It doesn't mean anything to me. He means nothing. Marquez is a nobody. The Cuban Missile Crisis shouldn't even have ever been inside the UFC, realistically. He got a fucking Contender Series spot. Who gives a shit? Now we're going to move on next on the main card, Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrell. Now, we're going to say this with caution. We're going to pick Jacoby Smith to win by knockout or submission. I think actually, fuck. You know what? Yeah, I will. By finish. Josiah Harrell is really fucking good. This kid's really good on the regional scene, making a lot of fucking noise in the LFA. And he's been fighting in the Ohio Combat League. Fought Melvin Gullard, which is a crazy fucking fight to get, by the way. That's insane. But, like, dude, I was actually looking at Harrell too, because he was rumored to be fighting Jacoby Smith later, and then they did get him on the card. I don't know, man. This is a close fight. I think Jacoby Smith by knockout's more realistic, but having a close fucking round with Nico Price does not exactly give me a lot of fucking confidence in Jacoby Smith, but I think he's been testing himself through and through these fight camps. I think he's been improving himself quite rapidly. And he's just got a little bit more on his mind than Josiah Harrell, which gives me a little bit more of a caution when it comes to betting him. I'd probably stay away from this fight if I was being honest. I'd probably bet the under. Either Harrell is going to walk out there and torch Smith, or Smith is going to work his ass and get him later in the second or third round. But realistically, I would bet the under. Not to go distance. I think these guys are going to bang. It's going to be a fantastic fight, though. But Jacoby Smith, man, he's such a level of talent that I've never seen inside the Contender Series. He truly looked like he had everything, and he looked like he really had a lot of just availability when it came to winning the fight. I think he's just going to be really good later on. Right now, I don't know. This could be the one that stops him, but I'm going to go with Jacoby Smith on this one. Next on the main card, damn, this is a fat card, huh? Sergey Spivak versus Ante Delija. We're going Delija to win by knockout. Sergey Spivak has just upset me and gave me a lot of bad taste in my mouth after the Gelton Almeida knockout and the Waldo Cortez Acosta fight. Realistically, he should have taken Acosta down. He should have attempted anything. He's 250 pounds against the fucking cage. He's only 15 pounds down on the guy, and he didn't even try a fucking takedown. He tried to stand and bang with Waldo Cortez Acosta, who's one of the fastest fucking heavyweights I've ever seen at 265. It's swinging like he's fucking 205 pounds. And now you have Ante Delija, who's just going to walk forward and just knock Spivak into a fucking different dimension. The Croatian doesn't give two fucks anymore. He's been doing this his whole fucking life, and he's ready to put it against Spivak's fucking face. Let's go with Spivak getting knocked out against the cage. I think Delija is just here to stay. Marcin Tybura getting knocked out like that gives me a lot of confidence in Spivak getting clipped and just put out. I don't think Spivak can handle a punch that well anymore, and it's shown with Almeida and Gon. Even though Gon hits like a truck, still, I think Delicia's just going to put him through and through and just walk him down. Give me Ante Delija to win by knockout. He's barely a favorite. Like, just take that money all day. Next on the main card, Dan 50K Ige versus McQuizziel, the Dalmatian Costa. I'm going to go with Dan 50K Ige against Costa. I think Costa's had a lot of problems in his fights in the third round. He's had fights like the fight against Julian Erosa, Christian Rodriguez, where the third round is just very questionable. He's completely gassed. He doesn't deal well with massive cardio fights. And Dan 50K makes a fucking living off of that. He makes a living out of third round comebacks where he comes back and just knocks guys into different dimensions. And you also have Dan, who's able to torch guys in the first round with massive punches, i.e., Andre, what's his fucking name? Andre Feely, who he just check right hooked into the fucking ground. And you have Costa here, who's just going to be gassed up to the third round because Dan 50K is never going to stop. He's going to keep walking forward. McQuizziel and Costa will not be able to get a submission victory over Danny Ige either. Dan Ige will move forward, and he will probably cover that 3.5. If the 3.5 spread is anything better than a -150, I am telling you right now to put your money on it. McQuizziel Costa is going to be in a lot of trouble when it comes to Dan 50K Ige moving down the stretch and moving towards him. The veteran status is going to earn him a lot of respect, and he's going to be hitting Costa with some bombs later in the fight. He will get tagged. Watch out. I don't know if Costa can eat it. I think Dan's going to be able to fucking eat it quite well, though, and I don't think he's going to be getting taken down much at all. Next, the co-main event of the evening. A lot of people taking the underdog in Uros Medic because of the devastating knockout that Jeff Neal suffered against Carlos Prates not 6 months ago. But I'm going with Jeff hands the steel Neal to get it done against Uros Medic. He's a little bit more calculated than Medic. Medic doesn't deal well with guys who actually have calculated attacks. Jeff Neal, all he has to do is literally follow up a 1-2 with a 3 over the top, and he's just going to clip him and drop him. Uros Medic is a guy who literally backs up every single time with one hand down and one hand up, and if you can hit on the side that he has on hand down, you're just going to clip him no matter what. It happened with Punahele Soriano. It will happen with Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal hits like a fucking absolute truck. This is going to be a really perfect fight for Jeff Neal. He had a really amazing fight against Ian Machado Gary. He had an amazing win against Rafael Dos Anjos in, was it the first round? I thought it was the second round. But he got a good TKO victory after his leg just kind of popped out and Jeff Neal beat the fuck out of him. And then you have Uros Medic, who's just, he's got a bit of a spree. He had a good knockout victory against Muslim Salikov. He had a good knockout victory against Gilbert Urbina. But will he get that against Jeff Neal? I don't think he will. I don't think the ability to burst in on Jeff Neal is going to happen. I think Jeff Neal's taken too much punishment. And I think the only knockout of his entire career being against Carlos Prates, which is 6 months ago, who's one of the hardest hitting welterweights that have ever existed inside the entire UFC. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Uros Medic is strong. I don't think he's going to be strong enough to take out Jeff Neal. Give me Jeff Neal to win by knockout in the first round. Medic is probably going to be a first rounder bust here tonight, or excuse me, on Saturday night. Now next, the main event of the evening. Now this is a very interesting fight. I'm going to go with what my brain says because my heart says Strickland, but Sean Strickland versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. We're going to be going with Anthony Fluffy Hernandez to continue his spree at 185. I'm going to tell you right now, though. I'm going to tell you what. I like Fluffy to win by decision, but I'm going to give you something here. Sean Strickland is fighting Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Hernandez relies on being able to take guys down, wear on them by allowing them to get back up, and then immediately taking them down again. Okay? He beats on them. He beats the shit out of them. He'll allow them to stand for a little bit before switching it up on them and making them exhausted again. Sean Strickland is not a guy who gets taken down very often. He is not a guy who sits on the ground very often. He's a guy who has very, very high-level wrestling takedown defense. He has very high-level wrestling, and he's always been known for that. Now, a lot of guys don't know that. That's probably why the line is plus 210. Again, the odds makers do not make these lines specifically. The odds actually move based on what people bet. So this is actually a public opinion rather than what the true odds are. I would say the value is on Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland was able to beat Israel Adesanya with a jab and a teep and a 1-2. And yet, people still kind of doubt the guy when it comes to high-level fights. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, yes, he's on a bit of a roll. Yes, he has had a lot of finishes in the last 6 fights. Roman Dolidze, Brendan Allen, Michel Pereira, Roman Kopylov, Edmund Shabazian, Marc-Andre Barriel. These are guys Sean Strickland would beat the fuck out of. These are guys that Sean Strickland have beat the fuck out of. I'm telling you right now, these are red flags. No one is realizing. Listen, Fluffy ragdolled Brendan, right? Well, I guess ragdoll. It was a close fight, right? He beat him up. It was a good fight. You know, it was 3 rounds, close, whatever you want to say. Probably 2-1. I would say 3-0 for Fluffy. Sean knocked him the fuck out in the second round. He beat the fuck out of Brendan Allen. I'm not saying that Fluffy's bad. I told you, I'm picking him to win. I would not bet this fight. Again, we're at 25 minutes. This is a red flag. I am warning you guys. I would not bet this fight unless I am betting the underdog. I would not put my money on a minus 300 in Fluffy Hernandez when Sean Strickland is sitting there at a plus 240. Take the value on the underdog. There is a minus 9.5 that people are asking to stack this week on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Again, I am wrong sometimes on these. Again, when I switch picks, I am wrong a lot of the time. This is not a switch pick. This is more of a just being honest. But main events, I am not very good at picking. Okay, historically, I am not. Historically, I am 82% in the rest of the picks. I am not a very good percentage pick on the main event. This is one I'm questioning. This is one I'm not really sure on. This is one I actually don't know if Fluffy can pull it. I don't know if it gets in the 4th and 5th round if Sean Strickland doesn't start beating the fuck out of him and start looking really bad on the scorecards when he might get a 10-8. I'm just going to stay away. I would say Fluffy Hernandez by decision or Sean Strickland. I'm going to go over. Go with the over 4.5 in the fight if it's available. Look for Sean Strickland to try and push his way through Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, and if he doesn't, he'll at least get the morale victory of getting to the end. That's all I got for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. I'm so sorry I did not put a recap and breakdown for the last UFC fight card. I couldn't. My PSU fried. I didn't have a computer. Maybe I'll put it up this week. I do have some compilations coming out later, and hopefully you guys do enjoy. I'll see you guys all later. I'll see you guys for the live on Saturday. Peace.